Delhi High Court in Natasha Nawal's bail order, in its anxiety to suppress dissent in the mind of a state line between right to protest and terrorist activity seems to be getting blurred. We are constrained to express that it seems that in its anxiety to suppress dissent in the mind of the state, the line between the constitutionally guaranteed right to protest and terrorist activity seems to be getting somewhat blurred. Observed the Delhi High Court while granting bail to Natasha in the in the Delhi riots larger conspiracy case involving sections under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. A division bench comprising of Justice Siddharth Mridal and Justice Anup J. Ambani also observed that if this mindset gains traction, it would be a sad day for democracy. Nawal, a student pursuing MPhil PhD program for the Jawaharlal Nehru University, had been accused of various offences under the Indian Penal Code, as well as provisions of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act in connection with the Northeast Delhi riots that broke out in the national capital last year. It was alleged that Natasha was involved in instigating the local population in certain Muslim dominated areas in Delhi, particularly women, to protest against Citizenship Amendment Act and NRC by allegedly seeking to incite feelings of persecution. Furthermore, it was also alleged that being part of Pinjara, Pinjara Tod, Delhi Protest Support Group and the Jamia Coordination Committee, she had participated in a so-called larger conspiracy in causing the riots. On the aspect of her being part of the aforesaid group, the High Court observed thus we find that a common thread that runs through the reasoning adopted by the learned special court when appreciating the material against the appellant is that the appellant was a member of Pinjara Tod DPSG, Warriors and Ortho ka Inqilab, and was part of a multi-layered conspiracy and in regular touch and reporting to the higher conspirators, which makes her actions culpable. The court also observed that merely because an independent review of the evidence gathered may have been undertaken by an independent authority and the central government may have accorded sanction for prosecution for offences under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act does not in any manner imply that the court need not apply its own mind to form its own judicial view as to whether any offence under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act is disclosed in the charge sheet and the material placed along with it. On the aspect of exercising the right to protest, the court observed that the government may prohibit public meetings, demonstrations, or protests on streets or highways to avoid nuisance or disturbance of traffic, but the government cannot close all streets or open areas for public meetings, thereby defeating the fundamental right that flows from Article 19, Subclause 1, Clause A, and 19, Subclause 1, Clause B of the Constitution. In view of this, the court said, what we know is that offence, if any, that are alleged to have been committed by reason of the protest having been turned non-peaceful, a subject matter of FIR number 48 2020 and 50 2020, in which the appellant is one of the accused and which the appellant has been admitted to bail and will face trial in due course. There is absolutely nothing in the subject charge sheet by way of any specific or particularized allegation that would show the possible commission of a terrorist act within the meaning of Section 15 of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, or an act of raising funds to commit a terrorist attack under Section 17, or an act of conspiracy to commit or an act preparatory to commit a terrorist attack within the meaning of Section 18 of Unlawful Activities of Prevention Act. Accordingly, prima facie, we are unable to discern in the subject charge sheet the elemental factual ingredients that are a must to found any of the offences defined under Section 15, 17, or 18 of Unlawful Activities of Prevention Act. Furthermore, It said allegations relating to inflammatory speeches, organizing of Chakka Jam, instigating women to protest, and to stockpile various articles and other allegations, in our view, at worst, are evidence that the appellant participated in organizing protest, but we can discern no specific or particularized allegation, much less any material to bear out the allegation that the appellant incited violence, what to talk of committing a terrorist attack or a conspiracy or act preparate, sorry, preparatory to the commission of a terrorist attack as understood in the Unlawful Activities of Prevention Act. In view of this, the court granted bail to Natasha Narwal, subject to her furnishing a personal bond in the sum of rupees 50,000 with two local sureties in the like amount. So, court said in a considered opinion, keeping in view the background, profile, and position of the appellant, there is no reasonably discernible basis to suspect, nor do we entertain any reasonable apprehension that the appellant will either flee from justice, or that she will tamper with evidence, or that she will intimidate witnesses, or otherwise attempt to frustrate trial. The court observed at the outset in the case Natasha Narwal versus State of Delhi and City. Thank you.